Okay, guys, what might be the easiest part of this is finding solutions using the quadratic formula. I, honest to God, love it. It's taking what we were using with the discriminant here, that looks familiar, and we've used this whole formula. Guys, I will give you this formula. We don't have to memorize it. We are okay. The discriminant is just whatever's underneath the square root. So that's where that came from. So all we're going to do is we have to have our equation looking like this, and then we can literally just plug it in and get answers with our calculator. The biggest error people are going to make with this is not using their calculator correctly. So we want to make sure that we're doing every tiny step correctly. So if you look at the examples they've done, here's our equation. We have an A, a B, and a C. They're all negative. So literally taking out all the letters, putting in parentheses, and just plugging everything in. Everywhere I see a B, I'm putting a -2. So -2, -2. Everywhere I see an A, I'm putting a -5. -5, -5. Everywhere I see a C, I'm putting a -8. Done. Done. That's it. Step 1. Parentheses and plug it in. Then do the math. -2 is +2. -2 squared is a 4. -4 times a -5 is a +20. 20 times 8 is a -160. 4 minus 160 is this -156. That's where it came from. So they solved inside. They also did 2 times -5 and got -10. How did they get here? So how do we get from -156 to here? So first they pulled the negative out and made it an I. Okay. Then we got to figure out what this nonsense is. So let's just make a factor tree for 156. And here's how I make factor trees. I know all my perfect squares. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home. I'm going to start a new document. I'm going to add a graph. And I want this graph to be my magic number, that 156 divided by x. I'm going to hit enter. I'm not really going to care what it looks like right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to menu. I'm going to go down to table. I'm going to split the screen with my table. I'm looking for numbers that I know are perfect squares. So if x is a 1 and 156, that's not helpful. So let's look at 2 and 78. Neither one of those are perfect. 3 and 52, neither are perfect. 4 and 39, 4 is a perfect square. So 4 times 39. Then I have to ask myself, that's a perfect square, so that's going to pull out as a 2. 39 is 3 times 13, and those are both prime. So we're done. That 2 is going to come out, and that 39 is going to stay in. So what you don't see, if we just reduced this, okay, I'm going to come up here. 2 plus or minus, we took an I out. We're pulling that 2 out. We're leaving the square root of 39 in. And we're putting all of this over -10. Okay? Then I have a 2, and I have a -10. All outside, all separate, but I can simplify. I can divide all of these by the number 2. So that turns into a 1. That turns into a 1. That turns back into a -5. So now we have a 1. We have a plus or minus. We have our I. Our square root of 39 over -5. That's how we got here. So let's take a look. So the two solutions are -1/5 minus I square root of 39 over 5 and -1/5 plus I square root of 39 over 5. We can check by substituting. You can see all that lovely work. Nobody wants to do it at all, but you can if you really, really wanted to. I'm not going to do it, but it will work. If you do it correctly, it will work. I, honest to God, don't really want to check. to be honest. So let's do that whole process again. We have an equation. We need to get it with the 0 on by itself over here. So we're going to have to add the 1. So we end up with 7x squared plus 2x plus 4 equals 0. Okay, A, B, C it up. A, B, C. All positives. Everywhere I see these letters, I'm putting them in. So the first thing I see is a B. I'm going to put this in parentheses because I like to do that. Every time I see a B, I'm putting the number 2. So here's a 2, here's a 2, and I'm done. I'm even going to cross them off. Then I have an A. A is 7. So I plug it in here, I plug it in here. Those are my A's. The only thing left is my C. My C is a 4. I'm going to plug it in there. Then we simplify. Negative of a positive 2 is just a negative 2. Then I'm going to solve this down. 2 squared is 4 minus 4 times 28. So 4 times 8 is 2. 8, 9, 10, 112. So I end up with, sorry guys. Four minus 112, which is a negative 108. And 2 times 7 is 14. Okay. We know we're pulling the I out, done. So all I'm going to deal with is I want to break up 108. So I'm going to take my calculator. Okay. I'm going to hit Control T to get rid of my table. I'm going to hit Tab and I'm going to go up. And I'm going to take out that fraction and instead I'm going to put in 108 divided by X. Enter. Don't care what the graph looks like. I'm going to hit Control T. And I'm going to start looking for perfect squares. Well, 1 is a perfect square, but doesn't do me any good. 2 and 54 are not perfect, but 3 and 36 are perfect. 3 and 36. So I have a 3 and a 36. 36 is perfect. 36 comes out as a 6 and a 6. So that comes out. That stays in. So the square root of 108 is the same thing as 6 times the square root of 3. Okay? You still with me? Magical. So, all we're doing is rewriting the top. The negative 2 we didn't touch yet. We pulled a 6 out. We left a 3 in. And it's over 14. Can I divide all of these by the same number? Yes. The 2, the 6, and the 14 are all divisible by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 is a negative 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 14 divided by 2 is 7. I didn't touch what was inside, and the I is still there. So I do have 2 solutions. That is a negative 1/7 plus 3i square root of 3 over 7 and negative 1/7 minus 3i times the square root of 3 over 7. And we're done. Again, I'm in no mood to check, so I'm not going to. Those are my 2 answers. And now for the part where everyone cries. I'm going to do another video for each one of these so that these are not too long for me to upload. So I'm going to do 8 and 9 on separate videos.